Hello, everybody, and welcome. We are living in a siloed and stressful IT world, and cybersecurity is no different. Traditional cybersecurity approaches often feel like a game of whack-a-mole, frantically plugging vulnerabilities with disparate tools, only to see new ones pop up elsewhere. Today, there's over 3,587 security companies across 17 security categories. Too much. This patchwork approach, defined by siloed data, integration challenges, visibility gaps, and narrow security control coverage, isn't effective in today's threat landscape. Todyl's consolidated cybersecurity platform enables integrated, automated, and proactive security. Todyl's architecture fundamentally rethinks how to deliver high-performance security and offering benefits like reduced complexity, enhanced visibility, unified management, streamlined workflows, and increased profit margin for our amazing partners. I'm Dan Candy, CMO and Head of Alliances for Todyl. Today, I'm joined by a panel of partners who have all driven consolidation through the Todyl platform to achieve more streamlined security and IT processes to advance their businesses. Please help me welcome Paul Havens, CEO of IT Haven, Ivan Fernandez, CEO and founder of SPN Networks, Nathan Scott, co-founder and CIO of Queen Consulting, Michael Collins, chief engineer at Queen Consulting, Nicholas Weber, technical support specialist at Queen Consulting, and of course, Todyl's own Darren Swan. Gentlemen, I'd love for you to take a moment and introduce yourself. Paul, we'll kick it off with you.
Great. I'm Paul Havens with IT Haven. I'm the CEO. Our tagline for IT Haven is "We build trust." I wanted to share our mission statement today, and that is empowering construction excellence through trust, talent, innovation, cybersecurity, and compliance. And this is all about that last piece of cybersecurity and compliance, and being able to put that in one single pane of glass for us has been huge. I've been around since 2017. We've grown to almost 2 million now in 6 years, which is a great stretch. Our goal is to get to 5 million in the next 3. So that is it for me.
Thank you, Paul. Ivan?
Hi, everyone. My name is Ivan Fernandez, founder and CEO of SPN Networks. So we are a cybersecurity and IT consulting company. We're based out of Los Angeles, and we do have a few customers out on the East Coast, but most of our footprint is here on the West Side. Been in business for about 23 years now, and we're about 13 employees. We did 3 million last year in revenue, and cybersecurity has been a huge piece of that, and Todyl as well. Thank you, and glad to be here.
Thanks, Ivan. Nathan?
Hey everyone, Nathan Scott, co-owner and CIO at Queen Consulting. Pleasure to be with you all. Thank you for the invite today. We specialize in compliance as a service for government contractors, and we've been delivering IT services the past 9 years. We're almost to our with the help of the Todyl and our partner network. And yeah, we've been growing year after year, and it wouldn't be possible without partners like you guys. I also have Michael Collins and Nick Weber from my team to speak briefly as well on their role.
Hi, Michael Collins, chief engineer. We basically, as our growth trajectory really started maximizing about a year and a half ago, we started looking in for opportunities to consolidate. And the thing we needed was a good tool, a tool we could rely on, a tool that would either meet or improve on our current performance. And the further we looked into Todyl, the more we found that Todyl was going to add capabilities we weren't leveraging. It was going to improve our capabilities. It's going to put it all in one pane of glass. And so it's kind of a no-brainer to start going down the Todyl rabbit hole and really trying to explore and push what we can do with Todyl. And we've really appreciated that capability and the building of trust with the Todyl guys, who basically encourage us to do sort of out of the box ideas with Todyl as well. So it's not just the one thing that you can go to, it's you can use it for different scenarios. So that's kind of my approach to it. Is it's a solution in a box, basically.
Thank you, Michael. Nicholas?
Hi, I'm Nicholas Weber. I'm support technical specialist at Queen Consulting. I mainly deal with deploying Todyl and removing all of the many tools that we're had previously used and consolidating just into Total. It makes my life a lot easier when I have one tool to install as opposed to 4, 5, 6 different tools I have to install separately one by one. And uninstallation when offboarding a device is much easier when I uninstall one tool instead of having to find all 6 tools, some of which can't even be uninstalled remotely. They have to be manually in person removed. So there are many great benefits of having all in one. And of course, having just a single console to go to look at all these tools and make modifications has made my life much easier, and it's very easy to deploy it this way.
Thank you, gentlemen. I look forward to getting deeper with each of you on some of the topics. And of course, Mr. Darren Swan.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening if you're watching this later. I'm Darren Swan, co-founder, VP of Sales at Total. And, I always have a lot to say, but this is not about me. It's about hearing from you all and hearing from this really kind of diverse group, right? Full spectrum, from the hands-on to people driving the business and the growth. And, what I always say, and I always want to say this, every single event, every single presentation, that I'm a part of is this is the biggest moment of your business, your organization's, growth trajectory with an important mission. Protect as many clients as humanly as fast as you possibly can, right? That's our objective here. Our business has changed from a traditional IT services world, reactive, to a preventative, proactive. Let's make sure bad things don't happen. Cybersecurity world. Let's keep those doors open for business, not just lights on. On the consolidation and unification, I have a lot to say on that, but we're going to let the people talk, right? Let the folks share with you what their actual life is. But I think naturally, as humans, we seek to simplify, to unify, to consolidate, to make things easier. I love the intro song, right? Come together right now, right? I mean, isn't that it? Doesn't that just net it out? Right? Life gets easier when we don't have the fragmentation, when we don't have separation, when we don't have siloed and everyone's together in one spot, looking at the same data, the same information, using the same tool set. So with that said, I think we can jump on in.
Perfect, thank you. And I have a question for all of the folks watching. Would love for you to answer in the chat at your leisure. But I'm curious regarding stack sprawl. What's the highest number of solutions that you've ever had to manage in your security stack? Love to see some of those answers come in. I'm going to kick it off to our panelists. Why do you think the industry is trending towards consolidation of IT and security stacks? What examples have you got that you've been able to benefit from this? Who wants to go first?
I can go first if you guys like. I think there's a couple reasons. The two main points I think is really for simplicity and efficiency. I noticed that being in business for 23 years, when we were just deploying simple networks, we're always trying to find the best wireless solution, the best network switch, the best router. And it worked for us for a very long time. But once we were able to find a partner that we can consolidate for our network equipment, made it easier for us to really train our team on one solution, sell one solution, and also manage our clients through a single pane of glass. And so that's, I think, the big piece with consolidations, the whole simplicity and efficiency in a security product. And that's also why we, of course, love Total, because of that same reason. Single pane of glass to be able to leverage different tools for our customers to secure their endpoints or network, zero trust networking, all the above. And I think the second piece would be the integration and compatibility. Trying to make different things work doesn't always work, and there's frustration because things should just be easier. And as a technician, you feel that, hey, there should be an easier way to do this. And I think with enough technicians preaching this, I feel like the industry has listened and said, all right, we got to find a better way of coming together with the products and the solutions that we deliver to make things easier and more efficient for us to install, deploy, manage, and to help protect our customers.
Thanks, Ivan. Paul, I think you were about to speak as well. I know you've been growing your business and acquiring other businesses
Right.
across multiple coasts.
Yeah.
How are you simplifying that complexity, and what's the ROI that you're seeing from it?
Yeah, Ivan said it great. Is like simplifying the for a CEO perspective on it is we got to simplify our training. The faster we can get our employees up and running and knowing what the security stack is, the better. And then having that one tool that we can install on a computer and deploy not only AV, MDR, SASE, all with just one single click. It's great. We don't have to go through all this different training and all that stuff. And then having the managed EDR team as the security experts behind us gives us more clout, and that we're actually being monitored by FBI level class of security experts that as an MSP, we can't afford to hire those guys. Right. And so it gives us not only the security and the trust, to bring to our clients exactly what they need on the compliance and security side. It's great to just have that single pane where we just look if we need anything. We can actually digest the SIEM logs and do things on our own, but we don't have to. We can just call the security team and they'll do it for us and actually let us know if that's an actual issue, right? So all that is all positives, right? We don't want to work hard. We want to work smart, and Total allows us to do that.
Thank you, Paul. Well said.
All right. So I wanted to re-echo what you all just said. And truly, at the end of the day, we're trying to deliver best services to the client. And I can't think of any better way of doing that than with a platform and a team that are as responsive and fast to detect and on the scene than the Total team. We got to be faster than the rest. We got to be faster than the bad guy. We can't be in a reactive, figure out what happened yesterday mode. And we can't do that alone. That takes a team. And everyone's familiar with the iron triangle: good, fast, cheap. Pick any two. You guys have helped defy that. And that's because we're all working as a team now. We can have the good with the fast, and it's a lower cost because of the distribution and scalability of our team here. And we can bring that to the client and be on the cutting edge and have the advantage now because of that. So for all those reasons, from a business as well as service delivery, we're reducing our costs, bringing better value to the client. That helps everybody win, win, win.
Thank you, Nathan. You brought up an interesting point on the reducing cost. Can you help us understand what you mean by that?
Yeah, and I'm sure the guy will resonate, but if you were to add up the cost of 7 different security platforms that you're trying to deploy, not just the cost of those subscriptions, but now you're talking about the time and energy to train, like Paul was mentioning, and then all the time and energy to have to flip between all these different screens, like Ivan was saying. There's a lot of hidden costs here, administrative burdens that are far in excess of just the software alone, which is already going to be more expensive than finding a platform that brings it all together. And because of that economy of scale, we have reduced costs. We have better package deals and bundles that our competition is going to be hard pressed to beat.
Cool. You brought up a couple things that I heard that I also heard from other folks as well thematically here is, one is we have a massive deficit in cybersecurity SecOps skill set. That's the straight reality. I didn't Google search today to see how many current job openings are, but I know there's a comma, maybe even a couple commas in there. So we need to level everybody up. Everybody has to be security ops. We're all cybersecurity professionals, every single one of us here on the call, everybody in our industry. The other thing that was mentioned too is time. It's not just fast time to deploy, right? Threat actors' greatest advantage against us is time, right? How fast is it for us to identify an action, right? So how quickly can we go see what's going on and take the appropriate action to make sure it stops? So time and having the unification and not the swivel chair as was described, which screen I go to and which team member do I have to tap to go look things up. This is where that unification on the same fabric, everybody looking at the same data on the same dance floor together, reading the same sheet of music is so critical. Time is against us when it comes to adversaries.
Yeah, well said, Darren. Nathan, you said you brought up the topic of speed, and I'm always asking my team, how can we go faster? How can we eliminate some friction and provide a better experience for our customers and partners? I'm curious, gentlemen, how has leveraging a consolidated modular platform such as Todyl and other types of IT solutions, how has it helped you adapt more quickly to the needs of your clients, especially in this hybrid, fast changing world?
Oh, I was just going to say, what we love about Todyl is we can basically talk to a customer and say, oh, you don't have this. We already have a tool for that. It's already in place. Or a customer comes to us with a need. We can say, oh, we can do that quickly, right? We can protect you. We can give you this benefit right off the bat. We don't have to say, well, we have to do some research and get back to you. We have an answer for customers right off the bat, and that's significant for customers. They respect that
Hey,
promptness.
for
They respect
example,
that.
Michael, you did that Steam integration for AWS recently. Other competitors were weeks out, and we can do that in less than a day with Todyl as an AWS integration example.
Mhm.
Could you tell us a little bit more, Michael, about the AWS Steam integration?
Yeah, so one of our clients basically came to us with a little bit out of the box scenario, where it's not something where our standard customers run into it, but they've got multiple AWS environments. And so we basically found a way to protect their environments, but simplify the infrastructure needed. So, initially make you think, oh, we have to have an agent in every single instance they're running, or a collector in every single subscription they've got in AWS. We were able to go in and use AWS aggregation tools and put all those into a single collector, but still differentiate them. So we can use Todyl's seam logic to basically sort out, oh, this is coming from this subscription. And so we can build custom rules to alert on the correct subscription and resources, just using, one or two components, vastly simplifying the whole deployment. So we've got a seam sock for AWS that it took a day maybe to plan out, build out, get all the permissions right. That was a fun project where it's like, we've never done this before. We know sort of the basics of what to do. Let's go do it. And boom, you're able to do it. We consulted with Todyl, I think, twice on a couple elements that we weren't as familiar with. And our customer seems very happy. We're getting the data regularly. They get the alerts. Everybody's happy.
What a great story. Thank you, Michael. And it sounds like you were responsive, insightful, expeditious, and you did something of high value to that client, which of course creates stickiness and partnership and longevity with your clients.
And having the Todyl team as responsive as they were, doing the demos, not on demand, but within a day's notice, basically was significant for us, was to have a partner we could rely on like that.
Great. Thank you for those insights. Ivan, I saw that you were about to say something.
Yes. So what I was going to say is, for us, when we're working with our customers, a lot of them know that they need to protect their business. And I think it's our part as a MSP to educate them on cybersecurity. And we do know that they need every single module that Todyl offers, to really protect themselves. But sometimes it's difficult for them to swallow that pill, from the beginning. So one of the things that has really been helpful with Todyl is knocking down the entrance barrier to bringing in a cybersecurity solution. So be able to come in there with something simple as, hey, we're going to do a SOC and an EDR and next-gen AV solution. Let's get this all deployed on your workstations. And then to start budgeting out, like, hey, next quarter or next year, we want to start leveraging SASE or SIEM and having those conversations with the customer so they can add that into their budget. But the beautiful part is on the back end, it's just a feature we turn on, right? and it's not really we have to go engineer a solution for them. So that has been really how we've been winning with Total with our customers. It's, respecting that, everyone is on a different journey due to the economy, right? And everyone knows they need to protect themselves, but helping them figure out what their appetite for risk is going to be, and being able to say we can start small and we can grow pretty rapidly once we're ready for that.
Yeah, it's great perspective. And it's the approach changes, right? I mean, we're no longer going in as a tools, for everything vendor, as you mentioned. It's a cybersecurity strategy. And think about that for a moment. When you're going at a competitive situation and you're able to come in and say, hey, I'm implementing a cybersecurity strategy that I can demonstrate I did my job because I have to. I bet the other MSPs coming in to talk to you are going to talk about all the fancy tools they're going to install and configure and manage for you until your head hurts. That used to be me. Yeah, I used to be that one. Not anymore. I can't scale protecting my customers that way. My security strategy, as was mentioned by Michael, deploys fast. I need to get you protected right away. And to your strategy here, Ivan, of let's get SIEM and SOC in first. I've got to see what's going on. I got to know the risk. I got to see what's happening, and then I have a team that's going to take, the bad nasties down when they do pop up, the SOC. And then later we can go through the process of then locking everything down, with SASE.
Absolutely.
Cool.
I agree with that too. For me, it's all about taking our clients on a journey, right? They start at a certain security level, and Total allows us to take them on that journey without any additional tools, without any disruption to their workflow, right? We don't have to get on their computers to install another tool or move forward. For me, we focus in the construction industry, so all of our clients have to have all their files at the job sites, right? So SASE is a huge gain for us, and was able to get us into the industry and to the clients' job sites really easily, with the focus on security on top of that, not just being able to have remote access, but now we're actually looking at the traffic, looking at the SIEM, looking with the security experts in the background, looking and seeing what's going on. And we can take a small client and we can take them on a journey of, okay, you're here on your security awareness, and now we need to move you up to the next level and get you all the way to where you're compliant with things that are coming out. We all know that all the businesses are probably going to have some kind of compliance in the next couple of years. They're going to have to follow by government standards. And so we're ready to do that today because of Total.
Yeah, well said about the journey, the flexibility, and being able to turn on light switches as needed when you walk into a room with your clients. You brought up compliance. That is a word and a topic that all of us think about every day. I'm sure that there's some great stories here. Nathan, if I were to jump to you first, how has consolidating your IT stack helped you improving CMMC compliance, for instance?
It's been night and day, Dan. When you're looking at the NIST CMMC framework, we have 110 security families, and within those we have well over 300 specific control requirements. Total helps us meet a third of those from a technical angle. That is a gigantic portion of security that we can start assessing against and pointing to and having a single place to report on versus 20 different places. I can't imagine a sustainable long-term plan if you're running all those different places and trying to orchestrate that, report on it. It's been a game changer. Now, I'm not saying Total meets all of the requirements perfectly. It doesn't, right? But it meets a huge portion of them. And, not even Microsoft meets all of them, frankly. If they did, we wouldn't have to find separate vendors to do two-factor authentication on initial laptop sign-on. And maybe I'm dating myself. Maybe that's been fixed now. But last I checked, they still haven't come around to that. That's why we have companies like Duo, for example, that are doing well because they are meeting a gap that the bigger CSPs just don't care enough about to fix. That's the other thing. Total, you guys really care about this. I have not worked with any other cybersecurity product vendor that has proactively addressed the topic of NIST or CMMC with white papers and gone out of your way to help us as a provider make sure we're in line with those requirements. I haven't encountered that yet. I'm sure there's other companies that are, and I don't know about them. I'm not trying to just say Total's the only game in town, but nobody else to my knowledge. And I've worked with 3 or 4 other companies. You know, we've worked with SentinelOne, we've worked with Cylance, we've worked with others, and I was educating them versus them coming to me and saying, hey, yeah, we care about this too. And here's some white papers to support you guys. Thank you guys for that. I really think that sets you apart.
Nathan, when you try to put an ROI number on something like that, have you approached it, or how would you estimate an ROI? Like I'm trying to think of those 300 on that to-do list, and being able to take a third of them off, and know that you're able to check those boxes, have confidence in the solution, and then be able to report back on it. How does that translate from a business perspective?
I really love that question. I'd like to actually take time and due diligence with my team to maybe do a follow-up webinar like this one, just to illustrate for our company exactly how that has been an ROI. I think it would be a disservice if I were to kind of pull that out of the air. If I were, and I'm going to asterisk this, right? This is like just pulling this out of the air. I'm going to guess there is probably more than 200% improvement, both in terms of man hours and cost of doing business, subscriptions that we're realizing. And that's just, again, that's pulling that out of the air. So I would rather give you guys a detailed report. Maybe Total has a module for that. I don't know where that module is, but yeah, there's so many questions there to explore, I think, from a technical angle, from an HR angle, from a documentation angle. But yeah, I think it's a wonderful question. I just say across the board, it's a huge improvement in all those areas.
Yeah. And you know, Nicholas, that's what you're describing is what's known as of today, right? This year, you know, NIST announced a new release, right? We know Washington state level, and we also know cyber risk insurance policy carriers are getting ready for their summer and fall renewal season. There's going to be more. That's the reality, right? So that just magnifies.
Nathan, thanks for those insights, and please know that we've got a pretty aggressive team working to continue to expand those pieces as well. Ivan, moving over to you, I'm curious, what are some of your thoughts on compliance and the utility of consolidating your stack around that?
Yeah, for us, we really work with small, medium-sized companies, and we're actually more about introducing our clients to the CIS controls. You know, we adopted those internally. We've been helping our customers understand that there's a better way to doing cybersecurity, and not make it about, you know, every week we have something new to sell to them, but instead laying out a roadmap, you know, of an ongoing process, right? And so what we realized very quickly is that Total also helped us knock off a lot of the components for detect and protect that are part of the CIS controls for our clients. It's also with, you know, with that GRC module. So it gives us a way to track our compliance from that perspective for our customers. We have a few customers that are mandated to have a security framework in place. And again, that's the one that they also selected the CIS controls. So when we've been audited, or they've been audited, it's been great to be able to show them these reports of how we're compliant and doing our job to secure their business.
Thank you. I love that you started out with customer impact. How can we leverage the technology to inform a roadmap right, as it pertains to CIS and other things, and so that you're showing up to ensure that you're thinking about the future and looking around corners on behalf of your customers. That's the most meaningful piece of what we're all trying to do together. So
I
thank you
agree.
for sharing that. Paul, anything you'd like to add on compliance before I move on to my next question?
I think they said a good job on that. It's just being able to actually test against compliance with one single tool is great. I mean, we really appreciate the forethought that you guys put into what your tool is going to do and how it's going to help us out and how it's really going to secure our clients in the end, right? I mean, that's what it's all about, is helping the clients get to where they need to be on their journey. And I just really appreciate the way you guys put together your effort in order for us to get there.
You bet. Hey, Darren, you've been able to speak to thousands of our partners and customers over the years. I'm curious, as you think about the output of our platform impacting the so many lives that way. Are there any highlights that you've experienced or any stories that you want to share?
So many. I mean, the use cases, and there's also the ones that come in hot, that come in compromised, where we're able to help get them out of the ditch, right? So full spectrum, from the hospitals, from nonprofits to manufacturing, emergency services, municipalities. I think thematically, there's across every industry, every customer, I think is pretty mindful of they have something to lose. They do have risk. And what I was hearing from the group here is not a fear-based sale, right? I wasn't here. I shock and awe them with fear tactics of doom and gloom, because that's not, I mean, that's immediately putting people in a defensive mode and on their heels. We want them to lean in, we want them to understand. And so it's an education, right? And so our approach, that I see really successful here, and I know the team here is this is their approach, is we have to educate them through use cases and stories of peers and colleagues and customers. I mean, they need to understand, what the adversaries, the threat, landscape looks like through those stories, so they can comprehend, because frankly, they don't understand any of the technical aspects. So most of the especially small business conversations that I've been a part of, and I always feel gracious that partners like me to come in and help them sell a few clients, but it's one of those things where we have to make sure they understand. Everyone has to make a decision to protect their business. You do. No decision means no. And with the regulatory items, with the compliance items, with the cyber risk insurance, requirements, that unfortunately, if you're in scope for FTC safeguards, as an example, that's personal fine and jail time now, right? So, the approach I'm hearing, the approach I see with Total Partners, is really more of that going above the rest of the market in a way, and taking that consultative cybersecurity, maturity approach, where we don't have to shock and awe. We can stair step them to a complete security strategy that is objective.
Thank you. Yeah, there's that element of mitigating risk, but the piece that we're all trying to do is to grow our business and protect our customers. Using that as a segue, I'm curious, how have you been able to attract new customers and grow your existing customers by leveraging tools such as the Total platform?
Everybody? Okay. I guess I'll go. I attract new customers not really by leveraging, but by telling stories of what's gone on in the history of our company, of like how we protected people. I go in with the mindset that I'm going to help them to get to an outcome, and that outcome is their employees being productive and secure, right? And I don't really talk about what I'm going to do in the backside of it. Total is what I do in the backside, but I don't have to. I have the confidence that I know I'm going to protect you. I know we're going forward. You don't need to know what that is. The clients don't care what that is. They just want to know that they're protected and they're moving forward, right? So it's all about stories of how we protected people, what we saw come in, an email compromise that Total was able to like detect in real time and make it go away and no financial deficit to the client, right? So that's the stories they want to know. They want to know that they're protected, not what's doing it for them. So that's how I grow my stack, and what I go with my clients is just telling them stories about how it is out there and how we can help.
Thank you, Paul. Michael, jumping over to you, how are you able to meet your customer needs faster in a more performant way?
So we kind of touched a little bit where Total is basically a bunch of switches, and you can just flip those switches to get what they need. Ultimately, I think that's kind of, I would say that's really a hallmark of Total, is the responsiveness, whether it be from the folks working there and helping us to deploy or to present solutions to customers, or just the tool itself. We can get what we need quickly. We get the alerts we need quickly. We deploy it quickly. We remove it quick. Just the promptness to respond is, one of the must-haves in a security-oriented world that we are now, and Total gives us that.
Thank you. Ivan, anything to add?
Yeah, I think I want to just resonate with what Paul's saying. The storytelling piece, I think, is the most important thing. We've done two things. One is any opportunity we have to speak to a customer about cybersecurity, we start with how things have changed. Because a lot of the business owners we worked with have been doing business for 15, 20 years. And, we share with them, like, back in the day, it was just AV, a good password, and a good backup solution. And, you were good. And then we kind of take them through the journey of, how pop-ups became an issue, and then malware, and, get them up to where we're at today. And also just share with them, the whole angle that attackers are using now with AI as well. So just taking them through a journey of understanding that, the way you usually were doing things worked for you for a very long time. Things have changed, and here's why. And the second thing we've been doing is, and we started this year actually, we've been doing this campaign internally to increase our client security posture. And that's the word we're using. And so we've been meeting with each customer strategically to say, hey, here's a 2-year roadmap. And the first thing we want to do this next 2 quarters is just improve your security posture. And we just basically high level explanation of, like, we want a SOC. What is a SOC? It's a security team. We want a SIEM. We want to be able to ingest those logs so we can analyze them. We also want to remove your basic antivirus, and we need an EDR solution now. And so I'm not necessarily, as Paul stated, telling them, hey, we're going to do Total, but behind the scenes, we know it's going to be Total, and it's one solution, which makes our job easier to deploy and install. But just having that conversation with our customer that you're here now, and what we really want to do is increase your security posture, and this is the plan that we have for you. That's how we've been winning with Total.
Yeah, I mean, that's really beautiful. It's what I'm hearing in this. What I also mentioned, on the front end of the call is just the shift, right? Complete shift of from that reactive, because if you go back in time and you think about where you were, right, handful of years ago, pick the number. I remember when I was CEO of a pretty decent sized MSP, and I hope everybody's doing their job with all the different things I had in that customer site, and how many mornings I cursed the sky, right? And there's this shift, which, when you've got it, you got it under control, there's an automatic sense of, I got this, and confidence in it, and it changes the dynamic of the conversations with the client. Because if your team's got it, I knew quite a few times I wasn't sure my team had it. Now I know they do. So it's really cool to see that.
Thank you, Ivan. Thank you, Darren. Building out and affecting the security posture is critical. I'm curious if there are other stories with specifics about reducing incident response times, or increasing visibility, or how do you actually ensure peace of mind with your customers? Paul, as you have, I was thinking through some of your customers and um, all of the different locations,
Right.
the different types of businesses that you're supporting. You gave a great example of construction and being in office or in the field. What tools do you use in order to be able to simplify that fabric approach and to communicate with them on the job that you are doing on their behalf?
Yeah, yeah. So I didn't say in the beginning, but we have a location in Eastern Washington, and then we also have a location in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So we are on both sides of the country. I've been able to remotely manage, mainly because of Total being able to know that the security stack can be good from anywhere, without having to travel a whole lot to manage those both locations. Um, Now the other types of clients we have nonprofit clients, where they're major nonprofits. They're the regional foundation for a hospital is one of them that I can think of, and they really have a cybersecurity as one of their forefronts of being able to be HIPAA compliant and everything there. I know that I put in that total stack, and I know that if I put in the entire stack, they're compliant. And all we have to do is like pull out the reports and give it to them, and they can go on their way with this is how we're securing ourselves. Um, other customers that we have are dental customers, all the way down to logistics companies that are just doing trucking. Uh, but they need to track their trucks, where they're at, what's going on, all that stuff. And we know that whatever equipment they take with them, we can secure. So that's what it is. It's like it doesn't matter what it is. We know we can secure it as with the total stack. We don't have to go out and find another piece of software in order to secure it. We can secure it with the current stack that we have.
Thank you, Paul. It's very helpful. Nick, I
Yeah.
want to jump over to you. You are on with clients day in, day out, right? You are seeing their pain, probably more than the rest of us on this call. And I'm curious, what are some of the interesting interactions you've had where you've been able to be responsive, implement effectively, and know that you're really providing a confident approach to cybersecurity?
Yes. I'll give you a comparison between before and after switching with Total. Before Total, there was like 6 to 7 different tools we used to secure a device. And when an application or a website or something wouldn't work, I wouldn't be able to know which one was causing the issue. Whereas, like, is it considered malicious by this program or this program? I would have to go through 6 or 7 different UI consoles, which I had to get trained on individually to try and find out which one's causing their application to fail. After switching to Total, I have about 2 right now. And usually I can tell if it's an application and it's not turned on at all, I know it's one. And if it's any other issue, I can look in Total and find out, hey, this is what's causing it, and I can tell them very quickly. So after switching to Total, it's much quicker to give a response saying like, it's actually not us. It's actually the program's other side that's not working. It's unrelated to our tools because I can check both my tools, not us. Otherwise, it's like I just have 2 consoles open on my computer, and I can, for the most part, say, yep, we blocked it because it is malicious, and this is why, and you shouldn't use that program. So it's been a really nice switch from having to have 7 different consoles to go to just now 2 for now, hopefully 1 in the future, which would just be Total. The other thing is that when it comes to reports, when someone says, hey, I want to know if this happened on my computer, I'm like, I'll have to put in a request to our SIEM team to see if they can figure out which of the many tools gathered data on that. With Total, I have access to the SIEM data. Yes, I don't parse through it myself usually, but I have the option to, and I found the answer to them. And that's a huge benefit when all the tools are located in one SIEM and one dashboard. I'm like, this is exactly what happened. So now you have peace of mind. This was not a malicious attack. It came from one of your other devices that you just weren't prepared for.
Thank you. I know that you and the team have an exceptionally high customer retention rate, and your CSAT scores are off the chart. Sounds like your immediacy and the completeness of how you're able to service customers, really drives a lot of those results.
we definitely try to make our clients very happy, and they usually stick with us because of how happy we make them. It's not that's outside of my scope, I'm not going to touch that. It's like, let me see how far I can go outside my scope so that you're happy and we have could resolve the situation. We'll many times go beyond just so that they are happy at the end, and Todyl has made it much easier to do that.
Yeah,
Thank
we
you.
have a lot of inquisitive clients. They kind of want to know, and Todyl can be very simple and straightforward, or you can dive down and point out every little thing that happened using the logs in the SIEM-SOC solution. So it's really nice to
And
have that
will
both
deter
and.
even the most determined lawyer from, no, we give them the explanation, but are they going to understand and read, all of it? We'll condense it and give them a summary, and then they're like, oh, wow, that's pretty impressive. Thanks for having our backs.
Yeah.
Yep.
And SIEM is just so powerful, right? And the conversations that I see happen with the end user customers is, very similar to your RMM, right? You guys would not live without your remote monitoring and management product, right? And SIEM is what you need for security, for everything that ever happens. It's how you see, it's how you know, it's how you find answers, it's how you threat hunt for insider and outsider risk. And importantly, as just was described, it's how you demonstrate you did your job. Right? It's the data at the end of the day.
Last two questions here as we're coming to the end of our time. How can you identify the tools that can be consolidated and those that should remain separate? What's the framework you're using in order to ensure that you've got the right stack at the right time, allows for business scale, and drives the profit margin in your organization?
For
For
Queen,
me,
I would say we have a primarily compliance-driven ecosystem, but not entirely. We have other clients who are ma and pa's churches and schools, law firms that don't have to deal with all of the compliance. So it's a balancing act between usability, security, and cost. But I think, like Paul was saying earlier, we're trying to have a story to tell that addresses those pain points comprehensively. And that is done through listening first to their environment. What are their day-to-day workflows? Where can Todyl address those needs? And where can we advise them to leverage more and more of it over time? So as far as a framework, we have kind of internally developed spreadsheets where it's like, hey, we know of these 30 different things. Here's all the tools and resources that are out there. And we can do a crosswalk and put that in a Monday board. So we do a lot of that, and it's usually an annual thing because we're always trying to evaluate our stack. Are there tools out there that will do this faster, better, cheaper? And, also being aware of what the competition is too. So we don't have unfortunately, a go-to gold standard, but it is a homemade crosswalk of requirements and what's out there. Maybe the rest of the guys have a more evolved form there. Go ahead, Michael.
I was going to say it really boils down to two things, or two sources of requests, as it were, from customers. And one is compliance. What do you need to align with these standards? And the other one is just technical needs. We have this issue. How do we do it? How do we access our data in the field like Paul's guys need to do? And so, the need for a simple and elegant VPN solution is really what first drove me to Todyl as an option. And, I was just doing research on the different VPN providers, and I saw that Todyl had multiple modules. And I thought, well, this is interesting. Let me go dive in here. So I dove in, I liked the modules, and I started asking peers, how do you find Todyl? And they said, we like it. And, I'm chief engineer. I turned to Nathan and said, hey, I think we should pivot to this. And then we got Nick hooked, who's basically our implementer. And it's kind of been just, down the rabbit hole ever since. What can we throw Todyl at?
Sounds like Michael deserves a raise to me, everybody. I mean, that 200% ROI for the company.
Yeah.
You guys are witnesses to this, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
we are. And this
Yeah.
this is being recorded as well. So you're all
Yes.
From
set.
my side, I want to add one more thing to all of that. As being a CEO of an MSP, we know that our industry is under attack, right? Like, the criminals are actually trying to get a hold of our tools to not only affect us, but all of our clients. And Total is one of the tools that I use to protect our clients from ourselves, right? So if our RMM gets compromised, we'll know it way faster than any other. Their clients will even see it, right? So that's my main goal. Is I'll probably never get down to one tool because I always want another tool watching that tool. So there's always that, but our industry, as you know, as long as we're small businesses too, we're under attack just like everybody else. But our industry affects so many other small businesses that we have we have to have the security in place to protect everybody, and so that's just it.
Brought up some great points there, Paul. Ivan, anything you want to add to this particular topic?
I think that if the question was, how do I determine what tools I should consolidate or what technology should be consolidated, what should have been consolidated, right?
Yeah, just trying to understand the framework you use.
Yeah.
Making these decisions.
I think for me, it's I mean, obviously I use my experience, 23 years in business, to try to make a good decision. But I think it's really about functionality and overlap in the products. We actually have been doing this organically. We have our own product catalog, which is our own stack of all the tools that we use, not just for security, but for networking and everything else we sell. And going back to a comment I made earlier, we're always just looking at ways to condense that stack and leverage more the tools that we have. I can't tell you what things should be part of a stack. I just think it's like a puzzle. And we're just evaluating everything holistically and seeing, okay, we got all these tools, we got all these vendors we work with, we got all these relationships. Are there things that we're not doing with some of these vendors that we should be doing? So going there and learning more about a product like Total, or is there something new that we should be looking at? So for us, it's just more of an evaluation process where we look at our product catalog, we have our engineers do a full review of all our stack. We send questionnaires to our technicians like, hey, like if you had to put a product on a chopping list, which one would it be and why? And just ask those questions. So that's what we do at SPN.
A lot of listening and learning along the way.
Debating, listening, and understanding.
I appreciate that. Ivan, how many different solutions were you able to consolidate because of Total? Framework.
I mean, yeah, I mean, we were big on SentinelOne, so that got consolidated in. Our journey into cybersecurity was a little bit different. We started with SentinelOne, and then we quickly knew that we needed to have a SOC, a SIEM, zero trust networking, all this stuff. And we went on an adventure to try to find a solution without noting that Total existed. But what we came across were vendors that would say, hey, we offer a SOC and SIEM, but you have to use SonicWall, or hey, you have to use this EDR platform, or we just do zero trust networking, like other vendors. And I was just kind of frustrated with that because I'm just like, there has to be one solution. And in questioning and talking to my peers and other friends, Total, the name came across. I'm like, all right, well, this looks cool. And I started doing the calls with Total Team. And I'm like, this is what I've been looking for. Just a single platform that I can white label if I want. I can put Total in the front seat. It's also another thing that is something difficult for us MSPs is that sometimes you can bring in another security company, but then they want that relationship with your customer. So this gives us the ability to really be in the driver's seat in that relationship. And I mean, for us, it's a beautiful thing. So we didn't really replace a ton of tools. We were just more looking at finding the right tool from the beginning.
Well said. Thank you, Ivan. Paul, I know that you are a full stack Total customer and you've been moving a lot of your new customers onto the stack. What does that consolidation, the number of tools look like?
I don't know about consolidation because new clients coming on, they just get the total stack. So I mean, I don't have to do anything else, right? And then we have an objective to upsell our current clients who currently have total, but usually just EDR and SIEM. And so we're moving them to the SASE and SOC. And we're moving them up the platform. So we had a roadmap to do it and get it done by July of this year. It's like get everything moved over. We see that they have to be compliant, otherwise they're actually going to be a risk to the rest of our clients. And so we need to make sure that they get moving forward. And so we're either moving them forward or moving them off as a customer at this point. So I mean, that's how important security is to us and keeping our clients safe.
You bet. Paul, anything else before we wrap? We're coming to the end. I'll just go around the horn if there's anything else you'd like to add.
I think I'm good. We've covered a lot here. It's just always great to have you guys come in and really be in our back seat and helping us go forward, right? And helping us drive and giving us direction on the compliance end and the security end of things.
Thank you, Paul. We're honored to be your partner. Nathan, going to you. Anything as we wrap?
I just want to say thanks again for the opportunity. And it really does take a village, a community. There's so much work to be done in the realm of cybersecurity. If MSPs, MSSPs could start thinking more like that and be less siloed, I think we're going to have an overall better ecosystem. And you guys are really spearheading that. We can all make this better and grow together. And thank you for all the tremendous effort your team does already for us. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Nathan. It's a more enjoyable way to work as well when we're thinking about how we can support one another versus the alternative. Ivan, over to you. Any final words?
Final words for me. I like that part with community. I think that's the most important thing. Just even as business owners and MSPs, having the community piece is so important. But when you have your vendors that can also support you in that makes it even more special because we're out there in the trenches, we're in front of our customers, we're getting the pushback, and be able to share that with a vendor like Total and make the product better goes a long way in our success. So I really appreciate you guys for that. Thank you.
Thank you. Well said, Ivan. And on that note, we're going to wrap for today. Thank you for the full hour. Great conversation. I learned a lot, and I hope you have a fabulous rest of the day. Take care, y'all.